Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the webinar on how to deal with stage fright. When I work with people in public speaking, they can learn the skills, they can write a speech, they can learn stagecraft, but one of the things that people continually bring to me is, how do I deal with these nerves? What can I do to eliminate some of this anxiety around speaking? Everything else is fine. I can talk to people around meeting rooms. I can talk to people one-on-one. I can run small group training, but as soon as I stand in front of 10 or 20 people, I just fall to bits. How can I deal with stage fright? So as a common theme, a common question that often surfaces in my workshops and in my webinars, I thought I'd deal with it in this webinar. So you've got my email, you've got my website, and you know how to follow me on Facebook. If you have any further questions after today's webinar, and this is just a 30-minute webinar, please don't hesitate to contact me via email or via my website, or you can even put a post on Facebook and I'll respond to it. There's some names I recognize and there's one or two names I don't recognize. So for those of you who haven't used webinars, please ask questions as we go, make comments as we go, participate. Take notes. If there's something I say that's not on the slide, feel free to write it down. I think probably the most important aspect that I think from webinars is to think about the situation and to apply it to your own self. So in terms of this particular topic, it comes down to casting your mind back, so thinking about a previous workshop where the nerves got the better of you, a previous presentation where you were really anxious and experienced stage fright, or what about an upcoming one, a future workshop? Maybe you've got a wedding speech, maybe you're the best man at a friend's wedding, maybe you've got a conference. One of those assignments that just me talking to you about it create some anxiety. So think about those events, one that's gone, or if you don't have one that's coming up. What can you learn from today? What can you apply? What can you take away and use? I'd be really happy if all of you walked away with one piece of information, one nugget, one gem that you can use tomorrow. I saw this quote the other day, given that 90% of people feel nervous or extremely nervous before public speaking, what can we do to deal with this stage fright? So this is the majority of the people experience some level of nerves, and many of us very nervous before we get before a group of people. So it's so common, it's so ubiquitous. So what can we do to deal with this stage fright so we can better be ourselves, focus on our content, focus on engaging and having impact so that we can kind of put the nerves, the stage fright out of the way? It's not only public speaking. So people, when they get before a group of people, a group of peers, an audience, and where they're going to be judged and assessed, it is common to have nerves and nervous anxiety. Sally Pearson was interviewed before the Olympics in London 2012, and she went on to win the gold medal. And she was asked if she was nervous, and she said that of course she's nervous. She was nervous because it's the Olympic Games. I'm glad to have nerves today, and if I didn't have nerves, then I would not be ready to race. If I don't have nerves, then I'm not ready. If you don't have nerves, it could be that you're not really ready to speak or get before that audience. Or if you've eliminated your nerves, you've suppressed them, maybe you haven't done the due diligence or paying that audience the respect that they deserve. And recognizing the importance of that audience, it would be natural to have some nerves. Now, Sally Pearson, I don't think had that massive stage fright, stand up and freeze. Hers was that performance anxiety, that performance nerves that is normal before any event, whether it be speaking or performing in such a big sporting arena. Ringo Starr, on the other hand, really does get stage fright. So his nickname after many years as a musician is Pukey in the Sky with Diamonds. And that's simply a play on the Beatles' Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I'm assuming everyone knows that Ringo Starr was a Beatle. It's not always the case nowadays. Some kids don't recognise that Ringo Starr was one of the Beatles. But yes, he was. So he gets so nervous before a gig that he often goes to the bathroom and vomits or throws up before a performance. And he's been doing so even when he was with the Beatles. So here's an elite musician who gets so nervous before performing that he goes and vomits. That doesn't stop him from doing his performance. It doesn't make him a bad performer. In fact, Ringo Starr is a good performer. He may be not the world's best drummer, and Ringo talks about the first 2 or 3 songs not having much, him not remembering much, being really nervous, and then he starts to relax and settles in. So the thing is that stage fright, anxiety, does not necessarily stop you from doing a good job in your performance, whether it be public speaking or whether it be playing music. So let's move on. I've got 6 tips I want to share with you. The first tip, and you may have drawn this conclusion yourself from the previous 2 slides, Ringo Starr and Sally Pearson, the nerves are a normal part of public speaking. The nerves are a normal part of public performance. The nerves are normal when you get before a group of people. So it's about accepting the nervous energy rather than eliminating the nerves or the anxiety. Some people come to me and they say, Peter, what can I do to get rid of my nerves before public speaking? And what I need to do is I need to apologize and say, look, guys, I don't think I can help you get rid of your nerves. I can help you accept them. I can help you handle them. I can help you understand the role or the importance of the nerves, but I don't think that I can eliminate them. So what you need to look at in terms of your nerves, and I've taken a photo of a beautiful black swan down at Lake Munga. You know how the swan floats across the water, and what you see on top is just beautiful, nice gliding, not one effort, not one bit of stress. And below the water is the feet that paddle. For me, the nerves, the stomach goes into knots, that nervous energy. So I want you to think of your performance, your presentation, and what the audience sees a little bit like the beautiful swan or the duck swimming across the water. This is what the audience sees. This is what they don't see. So if you can accept that your nerves, your anxiety, your stage fright, if you can accept that that doesn't stop you from doing a really good job from the audience's perspective, then maybe you can move on. In psychology, there's a tool that they use often for people that have social anxiety, social phobias, and fear of public speaking could be one of those phobias, I guess. And one of those tools is called commitment and acceptance theory. So it's about accepting that when you get before a group of people, you get sweaty and you get nervous. And when you can learn to accept that, you can then get on stage and do what you need to do despite the nerves, with the nerves, as opposed to, I need to take a Valium, I need to take a stiff Scotch whiskey so I can be completely calm. Are there any questions on that first tip? Does anybody struggle with the thought of having to accept their nerves, accept their stage fright? Yes, it is kind of tough love. So what I teach is not how to get rid of nerves, but how to accept them. I guess the reality is when people present with their nerves, they have a perception of how poorly or how nervous they look. And then I defer to the audience. And then the audience says, no, you didn't look nervous. No, Ringo Starr, that wasn't a bad gig. No, Ringo Starr, you are a good drummer. No, Peter, you are a good speaker. And if you can accept what the audience tells you and accept you're doing a good job, then you can sort of move on and understand that you're still nervous and having stage fright, but it's not impacting on your nerves. So you can let go just that little bit. Tip number 2, learn some good relaxation techniques. I'm not going to teach you how to do any relaxation via a webinar, but I'm going to encourage you, if stage fright is one of those issues that you face with public speaking and presentation skills, a good relaxation technique will help you. And acceptance and commitment theory is one form of relaxation. Mindfulness, so being on the moment, not worrying about the past, not worrying about what people are going to think about you in the future. The Jacobson technique, that is when you crunch up your muscles tight and you feel them, your facial muscles, your tongue, your hands. No one knows you're doing it. You can be sitting in the wings waiting to be introduced, and then you let them relax and you feel that wonderful sense of relief and relaxation. Whether you meditate, whether you do yoga, what is a tool that you can use as a good relaxation technique? And I not only like good relaxation techniques, I like quick relaxers, because sometimes my anxiety springs up out of nowhere and I need a tool that I can call on quickly. And it might be just a quick tensing of the mouth and then letting it relax. So what can you do when you need to relax quickly? Life is stressful, regardless of public speaking. A quick relaxation technique is a handy tool to have. One of the things I do is called horse blows, and I tend not to do this in front of a group of people. And the horse blows is just when you simply blow and let your lips vibrate, the same as a horse does, and it sounds something like this. Speech pathologists tell me that the horse blow is the best instant, quick relaxation technique for your lips, mouth, tongue, that vocal apparatus. So if you are about to go on to stage, an important speaking gig, a wedding speech, and you're feeling all tense, find a quiet corner, not in front of the microphone, not in front of the crowd, but a quiet corner, and do your horse blows. The thing I like about the horse blows is after I've done a horse blow, I can feel the absolute relaxation in my lips and my tongue. They're all loose, they're all floppy, and my speaking and my fluency is very easy. So when I start speaking, if I notice that tension coming back and that nervousness coming back in my mouth and jaws, I can let that go without the need for horse blows. So the horse blows is a great way of feeling what loose, relaxed, de-stressed vocal apparatus feels like, and do it and then experience it. It gives you a little bit of a high. And then when you get on stage, if your lips aren't that loose and relax, loosen them, relax them. Shoulder shrugs is another quick relaxation technique. If you're getting tense around the neck, you can be sitting waiting to be introduced and you can do your quick shoulder shrugs. Nobody even knows you're doing it. So that's tip number 2. Learn a good relaxation technique. I don't know what it is for you. I've mentioned my horse blows and my shoulder shrugs. They work for me. Does anyone else have a good relaxation technique? A short, quick one. Yes, so tongue twisters is another one. Speech pathologists will tell you that you should warm up your apparatus, your vocal apparatus before speaking. Singers will practice and warm up their vocal cords before they sing. So a tongue twister, she sells seashells by the seashore, round the rugged rocks, the rugged rascal ran, whatever it is a way of warming up your vocal apparatus and relaxing it before you get before an audience. So thank you for that. Tip number 3, prepare, prepare, and prepare. So Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within, the world's #1 speaker, talks about repetition is the mother of skill. And part of your preparation is doing lots of practice, repeating it, so that your content, your PowerPoint slides, your audience that you're speaking to, you've already done all of that. You've done all that repetition, and now you can focus just on presenting, being present. You've done all that preparation. And the other one, of course, is the 6 P's of public speaking. Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. The more preparation you do, the better. And those of you who've been to my workshop will know that I talk about the iceberg theory. And what I mean by the iceberg theory is we know that an iceberg sits about 80% below the water and 20% above the water. Something like that. Someone said 25, 75. What we say in terms of your presentation is the tip of the iceberg is what the audience sees. That below the water, this is your preparation. This is your 6 P's. This is practicing. This is knowing who's in the room. This is knowing your venue. This is getting your PowerPoint slides all ready. This is anticipating tricky questions. This is being flexible, so if your time gets cut short and you only have 20 minutes instead of 30 minutes, you can still present the same content and have the same impact. Or if the organizer wants you to speak for an extra 10 minutes, you're able to stretch without just waffling. So this is your below the water. The audience does not see this. And one of the things we say in public speaking, there's not much you can do on the day that'll make your presentation a success or a failure. The reality is it's predetermined before you walk on stage by the amount of effort that you've done. And clearly Ringo Starr is a classic example. So nervous that he vomits. Goes on stage, people think of Ringo Starr as a great drummer, one of the Beatles, great musician. That's all they think of him. They don't know the hours and hours and hours of preparation, or they probably do, that he's done over his lifetime, not just him alone and the Beatles, before they take stage. So, do your preparation. Preparation will help you immensely with your stage fright and your anxiety. The more prepared you are, the easier it is, and the more you can focus on just being yourself. You don't have to worry about content, difficult questions, equipment failures. Tip number 4. Visualize your presentation beforehand. Now, visualization could be one of your relaxation techniques, but in these tips, it has a role of its own. So one of the things I like to do is I like to arrive early. The reason I arrive early, and I did a presentation this morning in Perth, I arrived at 8 a.m., in fact, 7:45, got access to the room at 8 for a 9 a.m. presentation. When I arrive early, I'm visualizing the room. I'm visualizing the audience. I even go and sit down the back of the room and then visualize the stage, look at the stage and visualize myself on the stage. I can even practice my opening minute and my concluding 2 minutes. I can practice that by myself. So I'm actually visualizing and practicing or enacting the start and the end of my presentation. Part of the visualization is looking if there's any problems, any issues. Is the lighting even? Are there any columns or obstacles that will prevent people from seeing you? Are there any cords you might trip over? So the visualization is in the mind, but the visualization is also kind of part of your preparation. Arriving early helps you visualize, helps you prepare. There's another concept here that I want to talk about briefly. It's called future pacing. Future pacing is kind of like a visualization, but future pacing is a neuro-linguistic programming tool, NLP tool. It's playing a movie over in your mind. It's playing your presentation in your mind before you've done the presentation. So stand on stage and in your mind go through the opening and the middle and the end. In your mind, play through the questions and your responses. In your mind, stand silent and acknowledge the crowd as they clap your conclusion, your ending of your presentation. Feel that applause, feel that thank you, that gratitude from the crowd. So future pacing is at a deeper level than visualization. Future pacing is actually playing the movie, the event. And the theory being that now when you go to present, you've already done it. It's already done. It's already completed. You're just doing it a second time. I believe if you can play the movie in black and white in your mind, play yourself presenting in black and white, that's really good. If you can play it in color, that's even better. So as you visualize and future pace the movie of you presenting, the audience clapping, can you get that movie in color? Great way to deal with your anxiety, your stage fright. Visualize it, do it before you take the stage. Okay. Any comments, any questions? So how do you visualize? How do you not visualize going blank? How do you not visualize failing? I guess that's the negative self-talk coming out and the self-doubt. And if you've done the preparation and you can take control of your visualization, make a positive visualization with a positive outcome. And reality, what is the evidence that you are going to fail or have stage fright and forget and mind go blank? And if you're well prepared, I would even have a set of notes, a cheat sheet or some palm cards up front with me that I wouldn't use, but if I did went blank, if I did go blank or the event was of such an important nature that my anxiety was through the roof, then I would certainly have some notes with me. Deep breathing. With our opera singers, they're taught to do diaphragmatic breathing. It's also called intercostal breathing. And what it's about the ribs. It's separating the ribs, the cartilage between the ribs down here. So this is what I call deep breathing down in the diaphragm. It's also called lower breathing. If you breathe up the top of your chest, that's shallow breathing, not H, not hello, shallow breathing, and also called high breathing, so breathing high up. If you walk on stage and you're not deep breathing and you do shallow breathing, you're going to impact the oxygenation of your blood. And what you'll notice is that it'll be a nervous breathing, and it'll be really hard to stay calm and take control of your anxiety. So when you put your hand on your hips, you should be able to feel, and you can put your hands a bit higher up on your ribs, you should be able to feel those ribs separate. Another thing is you can put your hand on your belly button, around about there, and you should be able to feel your belly button breathe in and out, move in and out as you breathe. If they don't, and you put your hand on your shoulders and you notice your shoulders going up and down, then you're shallow breathing. Shoulders should remain still. This part of the chest should not be moving. It should be the deeper diaphragm, the balloon down here, that breathes in and out. For me, learning to deep breathe was the best tool for me to overcome my fear of public speaking and become more relaxed. That ability to deep breathe, oxygenate my system, and when things got a bit nervous, going back to deep breathing or just checking that I was still deep breathing mid-presentation was very important. And tip number 6, know that your audience is already on your side. In the majority of the cases, the people you're speaking to have invested time, invested money to learn from you. Most audiences come from a position of self-interest. So they come to my workshops, they come to your seminars because they want something from you. They want a solution, they want a problem solved, they want some strategies. They come from self-interest. They don't come to see you fail. They don't come to see how nervous you get. They don't come to barrack for you to have a brain drain. So the good news about this is that as long as you give the audience something they need, then they'll love you. They walk away with one plug and play piece of advice that helps them get to a better place in their life, overcome difficulty, remove a problem, a thorn in their side. So you've got information that helps remove a thorn in their side. Maybe they don't have enough money for retirement, and you've got some advice on how to boost their superannuation, how to reduce their expenses, or whatever it is. You help them, they're going to love you, even with your nerves. So tip number 6, the audience generally is already on your side. So this guy is not asking who's here to see if I fail. He's asking who's on my side. And they've all got their hands up. I'm only joking. Just understand that the audience is already on your side. So they're the 6 tips. Pick 1 or 2 that work for you. You don't need to use all of them. Is it that nerves are a normal part of speaking and understanding that? Are you going to develop a good relaxation technique? The horse blows, the shoulder shrugs, the tongue twisters. Do your preparation. The more you prepare, the less you'll be nervous because you'll have everything nailed. All bases are covered. Visualize your presentation. Not only visualize at home and practice at home, but get to the room early and walk the platform. Walk the venue, sit in the seats and visualize. Learn to deep breathe. Deep diaphragmatic breathing helps keep the blood oxygenated and the brain alert, and acknowledge and know and understand the audience is already on your side. Are there any last questions? Still got a couple of minutes to go. Any last comments on dealing with anxiety? What's the biggest issue for you guys out there in terms of stage fright? While you're typing those in, workshops coming up, difficult conversations in Perth, assertive communication skills in Perth next week, Monday, Tuesday. They're going ahead, couple of spaces. Certainly spaces in Melbourne for difficult conversations, thinking and speaking off the cuff, definitely. And Bunbury workshops. I'm not sure if I've got anyone in Bunbury on the webinar, but we have got a couple of Bunbury workshops. If you wanted an in-house workshop, just let us know. We'd be more than happy to come into your organisation. The next webinar is next week, October the 12th, same time, and this is about how to make your message stick, putting in some hooks, some stickiness, rather than speaking, being correct. I've done a fantastic job, and then nobody remembers anything. So comments, I've got wedding speeches scares the living daylights out of one person. Stage fright, when a keynote at a conference, yes, so breakout sessions are okay, but when you're in the keynote, so that's everyone in the room. Speaking to peers, so this is people who know you, is often tougher because they may know more than you or they may disagree with you. And when you're speaking with people that have come to learn from you and you're the expert, that's kind of easier. But when you're speaking to your peers, it may be that they're also the experts. So thank you for those comments. Any final questions before I end the webinar?